Yo guys, welcome back to another Danmachi Memoria Freese tips video. Guys, if like me you're struggling with this damn ball boss, then here are some tips that I personally went around different forms of social media and scavenged, begged and pleaded for these tips from more experienced players and players that have been through the same pain that you and I are going through right now. And even, I'm going to tell you this right now guys, I haven't beaten this boss yet, but I haven't really had the time to sit and really knuckle down on it. But it's okay to fail this one. From what I've heard across Facebook, Twitter, Discord, Reddit, there have been only a very small percentage of the entire player base managed to beat this boss. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into the tips. Yes guys, that is right. Gear is the foundation, the fundamental of where you should need to start your team building when it comes to this boss event. Now, you guys should all know by now you can craft your own personal gear, but on top of that, did you know that you can upgrade your gear to increase its level? Let's just use my Argonaut as an example. You can see that its level is 54 out of 60. Once I completely max that one out, you can also smelt your gear to upgrade it. This is essentially limit breaking for weapons, and the damage difference is very substantial. This is something I think you guys should be making a priority because it benefits you not just with this boss, but in everything. War games, Monsterphilia, Record Buster. There is not a thing you can do with your characters that won't benefit you from them having higher level weapons. I personally am trying to get all of my weapons to level 60, and I recommend you guys do the same as a minimum. Yes guys, just like with everything else, you should be picking the right tools for the job, and in this case I'm recommending Swift Armor, simply because if you come over here to the details, it gives you an additional 8% physical resist, potentially. Keep in mind there is a lot of RNG when it comes to crafting gear, but this is something worth investing your gold into. The additional 8% physical resist is basically a necessity, especially for this boss. His damage output is physical based and is ridiculous. I'm sure you guys know that already. You also, the endurance 20 and the agility 30 would not hurt you at all to have. Outspeeding this boss is pretty much a must, and making sure that you can minimize his damage output is also a must, which is why I'm recommending this specific piece of armor. Yes guys, as you saw there, team comp is tip number 2, and let's start with the assists. Your assists need to be focusing on buffing you and debuffing this monster, and this Ariadne right here is the perfect example of an assist that you should be bringing. She reduces strength and endurance for him by 10%. Well, my one does for 10%. If you have her fully limit broken, you're golden. If not, she's still going to be very helpful. If not, just go with whatever assists have the highest strength or physical attack reduction, because that is what you're aiming for here with your debuffs. And Ariadne is just my she is my top tier recommendation for the type of assist that you should be bringing. Following on now guys, we're going to look at the adventurers that you should be bringing, and my main man Galmas right here is a perfect example of the type of adventurers that should at least contribute to half of your frontline team. If you're not trying to do the whole 4 team member achievement and you're not trying to S clear it, you're just going for those 100 Iris reward, then Galmas is one of the recommended units I would say bring, because you can stack his buff with an adventurer debuff. Let me explain myself. So Galmas buffs his team. You can see that because it says allies right here. Basically fast damage received, attack reduction, all and single target minus 35% for 3 turns. This counts as a buff, so you can still use other adventurers to debuff the enemy at the same time. And not just that, this is a specific damage reduction buff, so you can even still use an additional physical attack resist buff on your allies as well. So if you include the damage reduction buff, the physical resist buff, as well as the physical attack debuff or the strength debuff from whatever adventurer you may follow up with, that all stacks. Keep in mind, you cannot stack the same buff, or you cannot stack the same buff or debuff from adventurers and assists. So 2 adventurers cannot stack the same debuff, and 2 assists cannot stack the same debuff, and vice versa for assists as well. Just a quick follow-up from the Galmus there, guys. This is the type of adventurer I'm saying has, well, I'm not saying bring this adventurer, no. Do not bring this Makoto unless you have her fully limit broken, and even then it's a little bit questionable, but she has some great debuff abilities. Right here, the minus 35% agility, minus 35% strength. These are the type of debuffs I'm saying can complement your support unit that you bring with your team. So think stack your buffs, stack your debuffs, as long as they work together. For example, she debuffs strength and agility. You can, if you can find an assist that debuffs physical attack, not just strength, then that would go even further. But this is just an example. I'm not saying, like, I'm going to repeat myself here, I'm not saying bring this Makoto. This is just an example of the type of debuff that you can stack along with your Galmus's damage reduction buff. And last but not least, guys, I don't think I should need to even explain why, but you should definitely bring in this man right here. And if you have him, I hope you do have him. I was telling you guys to save Iris for him, is the Crozo as well. Definitely bringing Crozo and Argonaut is going to be your best bet for your highest DPS output along with your supports. I am recommending the Argonaut, Crozo, as well as 2 supports, one being a healer. That's just my recommendation. Obviously it's up to you. It's entirely up to you how you build your team. These are just my recommendations, and the best DPS combo, sorry, for this boss right here is definitely the Argonaut and the Crozo combination. Yeah. Yes, guys, we're on tip number 3, and that is focus on your rotations. It is important for you to be aware what buffs you have for how many turns and what debuffs he has for how many of his turns. I assume it's a dude. Don't hate me. Okay. But just for your information, if you're not aware, the boss uses his special attack on turns 3, 7, 11 and 15. He can also remove debuffs on turns 4, 8, 12 and 14. To top it all off, he can also seal your adventurers, which basically means no abilities, no combat skills, you're just down to regular attacks. So bringing someone, this is why another reason I'm saying that the Ariadne that debuffs strength is a go-to and a must-have assist for this boss, simply because at max limit break she removes 3 status ailments, and he can seal you anytime after using his first special. Yes, guys, as you can see, part 4, RNG is definitely a thing. So yes, you may have done everything, you may have followed all of the tips, you may have the strongest team you could possibly imagine out of the characters that you pulled, but there may be a chance of something going wrong. And if that happens, learn from it, try again. It's not always going to be in your control, but it's something you want to keep trying at, then definitely keep trying. There is an RNG aspect. You know, you may not guard when you need to, you may not get the crit, you may not get the crit pen, you know, you may not get enough of an agility debuff to go before the boss. But if you keep working at it, learn from what happened previously, and then develop from there, you've still got a few days. You can definitely pull this off. Anyway, guys, I really hope that helps some of you at least a little bit. Make sure to drop in the comments and let me know if it helps you. Send me some screenshots on Twitter of you guys beating the boss or how far you got. I'd love to see that stuff. So yeah, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you haven't. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, the link will be in the description. If you want to join my community, the link to that will be in the description. And as always guys, I'll catch you later.